Okay. Hello, hello, hello. I'm here. Mama Linus Moshe as your host here on Mama Lioness Hadassah's platform. And actually, it's Wisdom Speaks, belonging to our everlasting and eternal Divine Mother's platform as a contribution to my part of bringing forth her portion of truth that she has brought through me um, and to me that I may be able to share with us. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes to give some people time enough to come in. I got a little caught off guard. I normally don't start until 9:30, but I have a great calling to do in the morning, and I have to leave out probably around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So to get to my destination in about 2 hours and 20 minutes away. So I had to do this one. Oh, greetings, Lady Lotus. Welcome. Yes, so I had to call this one a couple of hours early because I can't afford to be up until 1 2 o'clock in the morning when I have to be on the road. Greetings, Serene. Good to see you. Glad you all was able to make it on such short notice. But I have a mission to go on in the morning. What I call a sacred mission. So I have to leave out maybe. Oh, you said you're at work, and so you'll be in and out. Okay, well, I'm glad you was able to tune in to tonight's conclusion on the aspirant test, and so we can prepare to go into another well long-waited session about the matriarchs, the queen mothers, the mothers raising up mothers. Greetings, Barama Baba. Glad to see you. Glad you were able to come in at this early notice. And like I was saying, we always normally start around 9:30, but I have to leave out of the house around 4 o'clock in the morning and take a 2 hour and almost a half drive away to go to a sacred spot and do what I've been summoned to do tomorrow. So I can't afford to be up until like 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning tonight. So I just went on and decided to have the program at this hour. Not only, so I can get me some rest before I get on the road, but as well as um, being able to prepare before I go on the road. So thank you for being here. Um, and so tonight, we finally made it to the conclusion of the aspirants test. So I will be doing an overview in addition to bringing the last three focus of some strongholds and stumbling blocks that we have to be aware of these. Uh, it can be uh, well, they're all tests, to show our loyalty and our focus, and at the same time to search out the matters of the heart, that we be able to build on a foundation of integrity, since we will be representing the monarch of integrity. So, Brahma says, oh, much divine love to you, Mama Linus. Thank you. It's good to be here. It was a challenging day in reference to when the divine spirit summons me to go to sacred ground for what uh, on my indigenous side we call it a vision quest. So I actually never did one. I'm accustomed to being outdoors in a tent for as over a week, but the focus wasn't about a vision because the divine spirit has already given me an overall vision. But just out of obedience, I'm going to go do what she has to, um, what she tells me to do, and then receive what it is that she has for me to receive so I can bring it back and share with the family. Um, and also, um, just sometimes you're required to do something because this could be a test for me too to see if I still have that type of loyalty and dedication when the spirit says move, you just move. But as far as indigenous, I could have went to Tennessee, or I can go to Ohio as far as family is concerned. But I just felt in my spirit there has to be some place here in Georgia that I can find that would be sacred ground. So I had to reach out to some people who can make that divine connection for me. And amazingly enough, some people, when you're telling them um, about a spiritual journey, and they're supposed to represent the spirit, the great mother spirit or the great spirit. In some tribes, they actually call it the great grandfather spirit. But nevertheless, um, when you're talking about walking in the spirit of obedience, then they will want to take something physical and try to, you know, um, give you a limitation, because everybody knows I used to be on dialysis for 21 years. And I just recently had my kidney transplant. As a matter of fact, everyone, I will be celebrating my 1 year my 1 year anniversary for having my two little baby pediatric kidneys. Do you all remember what I named them in the hospital and what our everlasting parent named them after I returned home and gave them their spiritual names? Greetings, Angels B. I'm glad you were able to make it at such short notice. I'm glad to see you here. Lady Lotus says, Happy birthday, Destiny. And you remember? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's their spiritual name. Excuse me. I woke up with an irritating cough periodically throughout the day today. Oh, that's precious, Lady Lotus. You remember. Now, when I was in the hospital, I had a notion and to name them, but the first two names that come to me when I was in the hospital was actually Kenya and Sion with an S, Scion, not necessarily Zion, but Scion. And amazingly enough, the vehicle I drive is actually called a Scion. I think that's the make, or no, that's the model of the car. But anyway, after I reached home, our everlasting parent, then she told me, well, I'm going to tell you what their spiritual name is. And, names have a divine purpose. That's not naming something so it can answer to as an address, but it's a name that actually paves the way for your success. And that's one of the reasons why the adversary had to change our names from our cultural names that we came, either we had here from already being here before they got here, or when we came from the motherland of what I call Eden, the true Eden, They call it Africa today. Some people call it Alkebulan. I did I heard another name. Oh well, at one time, the Greeks used to call the whole mass of what they call Africa today. They called it Ethiopia. But nevertheless, that's one thing that we have to get back in touch to is getting back in touch with our own culture, names, um, and teachings and counseling and that unity of love, like the Ubuntu recognizes that I am here and I see you and we are here together. For a purpose. We're not an island set apart from anyone because no matter what we do, it's going to affect me and you one way or the other because we're all connected. So I'm thank you for remembering. So when she told me that their name was going to be Destiny and Legacy, oh, greetings, delicate lace. I'm glad you're able to be here as well on an early notice, but a short notice. As I was saying, I was summoned to go on a sacred journey in the morning. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be gone, but I know I won't be gone no further more than 48 hours. But then I'm not going to um, limit the divine spirit. So I'm gonna be where she want me to be, doing what she's telling me to do, receiving what it is that she wants to give to me, so I can come back and share with you all for as long as it takes. So I'm just looking forward to just get ready to take this spiritual journey. You know what I forget? I forgot to um, um, turn out the notifications of these, um, I guess, these YouTube responders or YouTube posts coming from other people. So we're going to keep hearing that because I don't think I can handle, I mean, change the situation while I'm actually taping live. So I'm glad to see you all here. Alex Little, welcome, peace and blessings, blessings. I'm glad you were able to make it on such short notice and early. I have a sacred journey to take in the morning on my vision quest. So I can't afford to be up until 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, like it's been going, and still be able to get up um, and go on my 2 hour and maybe 20 or 30 minute drive to get to my sacred ground to do what the divine spirit has told me to do. Um, and I have to, at least my alarm is going to go off at 4, and I hope to be walking out of here at 5. So So thank you for being here. Such a short notice. So tonight is the conclusion of the sharing wisdom, letting wisdom speak in reference to the Divine Mother. She is wisdom on this platform, sharing and um, giving us information that we be not stumbling blocks or strongholds, keeping us from being able to advance to that level where we're going to be an example and be effective on how she's going to use us in this mighty way in this transition because she's already made the paradigm shift for us. We just got to be in line with her will, so we can be guided, protected, and provided for and counseled through our journey. Whether we're solitary, but we keep in mind that it's all solidarity. We might be on, different routes, but the goal is the same place at the same time with the same thing in mind on how to reach there. So I'm looking forward to close in this chapter so we can focus up on the matriarchs, the queen mothers, the divine feminine, so we can. Now, a lot of things that we might, that I'm going to bring forth, that is going to actually elevate the true minds are not going to be video. I won't be recording those. We're going to be utilizing a different way of communication because you never let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. So that's another reason why the adversary is able to have like couple of steps ahead of us because people are so open and so quick to talk about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it, and where they're going to do it. And knowing that these devices were pretty much made for what they call the big brothers to have an eye and an ear in whatever discussions that we make. And, she's raising up daughters who are her reflection of wisdom. So we have to show that we are wise enough to utilize her counsel and have stand on that platform of knowing strategically how to use our wisdom, and it's not going to be advertised. So whatever that the divine spirit allows me to bring forth, that I can share publicly is information that's practically already known, except for my own personal testimony. But pretty much all the information that I share, it can be confirmed if a person was to research it. It's already written in books from the ancient of days all the way to today in this present time of eternity. It's just when you're awakened, you have a different way of, in simplicity, but strategically explaining it to a point where people can actually hear it and understand it, or even in a circular perspective, understand it, because a lot of the teachings that come forth, because it's coming from a system of verification only through an English perspective, it's not going to be completely true when it comes to culture. So if we want to know the truth about culture, we have to actually look to our own scholars. It's just like it says, one of our ancient of days proverbs says, until the lions have their own scholars, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. And therefore, we must understand, in order for our own narrator and our own narration to stand for truth and to that energy be directed to us, then we have to give our own selves credit to know that we have to listen among our own. Some people think that nothing can be right unless it's coming from so called white, and that's very disappointing. This is a shame. They have come so accustomed to being educated by their oppressors that they can't confirm anything or validate anything unless it's being okayed by the oppressor. But uh, nevertheless, that was yesterday. Yesterday is history, and tomorrow is still yet a mystery. But today, the divine feminine has awakened to her victory, and that we're going to stand upon the lineage of truth and the wisdom that the divine mother has instilled for us, to us, and through us. And it's about change. But remember, we have to be that change that we're looking for, because we have to be an example of it. We can't be an armchair revolutionary or just mouthpieces speaking these things. We have to actually be active. The difference between faith and faithfulness. Faith is just waiting on, and then faithful is in action. You're waiting on your opportunity, but you're being active to do your part. in order to manifest it. Okay, so the present is a gift. Huh. Yes. So, as usual, I'm going to open up with our proclamation in reference to binding. Um, because right now I notice, it's a lot of things are being revealed. So we're breaking the chains, those strongholds and those stumbling blocks, those chains of enslavement, rather through spiritually, but being manifested in the flesh. So we have to denounce these what they call Satanisms and schisms and isms that they have planted, and just to be able to pronounce them shines a light on them, even though it's coming from a dark spirit. Um, we are the light to the world, and we have the power and authority since we are the originators sent here to expose the falsified duplicators. So we're going to be denouncing that sect, SECT, that promotes and perpetuates these type of spirits through their agents and their puppets. And some, like I said, some people are being used and don't even know they're being used. But once they're confronted with that truth, and then they can recognize that they've actually experienced it, either they would respond right away, or they, even in their own belief system, it will give them an opportunity to go search out and kneel and pray. But the divine spirit knows their hearts and our hearts. And if a person is really deeply seeking truth, then she will reveal that truth to them and confirm what it is that um, the um, the messenger is speaking. Okay, so let me see. Uh, greetings, Redbird. Welcome. Glad you were able to make it this evening. And then at what is this? I don't want to mess this up. This is at Boogie BX. We'll watch later. Peace and blessings. All right. Thank you for dropping in, and it'll be posted within 5 minutes after I close the session. So thank you for stopping by. And Tanya, Queen, Arise, greetings, welcome. I'm glad to see that you were able to make it as well. So I'm going to go on and get into the proclamations of breaking these curses and denouncing these Satanism, schisms, and isms. So, as you all know, the Divine Spirit says to come in your own name. We do not need a mediator because it's no different than us having that direct connection to our earthly parents. So, even more so, do we have that direct connection with our everlasting, eternal parents. So, she told me, I don't need to use nobody's name. Especially when it's still questionable who, what, when, where, and how this person has been appointed as being a mediator for the divine spirit. But religion will teach you anything in order to captivate you anyway. So, nevertheless, I come in my own name, which is Holia Hadassah Moshe, and by the power that are vested in me by our everlasting, eternal, divine parent, and the blood of our ancestors who have sacrificed their lives in order for us to continue our DNA to this day. So we have the power and authority over all curses of the adversary and the colonizers that brought forth these hexes and their spells and their evil, wicked practices and their so-called witchcraft, which is our spirituality, but they call it as it truly is for them because it is meant for evil and not for good. And they're all their assignments and their satanic rituals and their evil wishes upon the descendants of our everlasting parents, chosen people to be the deliverers of truth. You know, the descendants of the Sibyls, as well as known as the Black Doves, the loyalty and the royalty, whether in a village or in a palace. We ask that these um, adversaries be put away in order for us to truly experience the type of peace that it was from the very beginning. And we ask that the divine pass down from to our generation their manifestation of the bloodline of our ancestors as a resurrection that we take upon the loyal spirits and the different offices that was appointed before time, before their enslavement, and whether mentally, physically, or spiritually. And we ask our everlasting parent to break their influence over our lives by any self appointed power, which they truly have no power because a lie does not have power. It's just the ability that we must now take with the wisdom that the divine spirit reveals to us that you know a lie is still a lie even if others believe it, but we are the example and the manifestation of truth. When we come into the knowledge of truth, we apply it so we can multiply it, that our choices be wise. So I ask our everlasting parent that we command these so-called curses to go back to where they came from. For those who proclaim it, it would have a boomerang effect and it would be placed upon their heads. So we ask our everlasting parent for any individuality disobedience, that we ask for her forgiveness, and for any we ask for any to renounce any negative vibes that we might have been able to reciprocate simply because of in the wrong place at the wrong time, listening to lies or being in agreement with lies. We ask the divine spirit to continue to cast out the enemies and give us assistance as she awakens that power in us as individuals, and that we be able to release from any bondage that we have been held into by the church and the state and the educational systems, by their principalities and their so-called self-appointed powers and their spiritual wickedness and their rulers of darkness and workers of iniquity in their high places of divinity. And we look forward to the blessings of aspects of the true life of which we was given from the beginning in simplicity, sincerity, and in truth. And that we ask that all of our relationships are divine connections, and that we be able to endure, manifest, and show and be an example of true love, and that we be up under her banner of protection, provision, counsel, and comfort. So in reference to being able to denounce the church and the occults that they utilize behind closed doors, and then manifest in places that's supposed to call themselves the temples of um, your true teaching, but which are really the synagogues of Satan. We ask the divine spirit that all of their works that has been taught, all their works that are being done, and all their works that they plan to do with their evil crafts and their devices using their evil divination, and that is not a spiritualization, which is to have fruit of good, and their practices of sorcery and dealing with their mediums and channeling with the spirit guides of any um, any wickedness or anything that is contrary to the divine will that is supposed to sustain life and maintain life. I ask the divine spirit that she continue to resurrect and through us the spirit of truth, and that we manifest it according to her divine will. And we can ask the divine to strengthen us, to release the strongholds of disobedience, and that we come into the knowledge of truth and we continue to apply it, and that she shine a light upon our path and upon our feet, and that we truly be the example of what it is that we seek. So, if the words that coming from my mouth and the meditation from our hearts, and the agreement within this platform be acceptable unto her, we ask the divine spirit to grant us accordingly, and that we may be in her peace and in her quiver. And I thank the divine spirit for all that she's done, all that she's doing, and all that she's going to do. And I give thanks that the divine spirit goes before us to lead us, and her spirit is beside us to guide us, and her spirit is behind us to protect us, and her spirit hovers over us to cover us, and even beneath us. But when we fall weak, that she would carry us, but most importantly, within us to empower us that we may be able to do all things through her, who has called, chosen, and sent us to do a mighty work, that we be able to uproot injustice and to overthrow hypocrisy and to cast out their religious dogmas in order for us to plant and rebuild the monarch of integrity and give her all the glory, and the divine source of life, the feminine, and the divine masculine life, the masculine, the father and the mother, as one, as we find our twin spirit, and that we become when two come together, they become as one. And let us start with being in alignment that her will be done. So, as it is spoken, as it is believed, as it is written in the hearts and in the mind, so shall it be done. So, okay. So, Ashe, Ashe, oh, okay. Uh, so, let me get comfortable. Excuse me, I gotta stretch. Ow! Ooh, ooh. Excuse me. Okay. So, let me get into yesterday I opened up with a but it's like prevalent every day. So well no, I don't like to do because cite the same thing that I wrote because if anything I want it to be different than it was. But I didn't pull any one of my poetries out, but I'm going to recap on the lessons that we've done so far in reference to power, money, and so basically, we as the aspirants of seeking and being guided by the divine spirit, we must pass into to sustain and obtain our self empowerment, and that we get rid of any negative egos and strongholds and over personalities, and that we master these attributes that will forever be among us, even on this journey more so when our eyes are opened and our hearts are open to be in alignment with the divine spirit, um, these tests are going to be more prominent because it's like their adversaries knows those who belong to the seed of the woman, and it's all about trying to keep a hold of our heel so we won't be able to uh, uh, progress forward. But they had their time, so now it's time for us to turn and smash the head of the enemy. And I don't mean from a physical perspective, but a powerful word perspective, and the divine would determine on how it's going to be done. We're her messengers, and that we shouldn't try to be more than what we are, because being what we are is more than what we need to do, and just being in compliance with her will. So once we get rid of these, acknowledging it, then we don't have to worry about um, these being a issue for us, because forewarned is forearmed. So the first one was power. So the lesson in coming to the knowledge about the power is either not owning it enough, because it's been suppressed out of our minds. So we've come to the conclusion that power is those who have high offices and high positions. So we have allowed power to be defined by materialistic things, or either titles or weaponry, and that's not where the true power is. I mean, knowledge is power, and it is not determined of how much money you have in the bank, or what kind of car you drive, or what kind of job you may have. Knowledge is a gift from the divine spirit. Once you seek, then you shall find, and once you find, you shall receive, and once you receive, it's your job to apply, so you can multiply it. So some people is owning it, who's not owning it enough, are understanding to define it, or when you get it, letting it go to your head can be a problem. People's personalities change, and power is a key to spiritual growth for us. Because divine has given us power in order to do what we've been called and chosen to do, but we can't define it by the things of this world. It's a spiritual power, so it allows me to bring forth a different way to define, because the power to define gives the power to control. So we allowed our adversary to define his language to us, and he created a matrix for that language. So it is our time to bust out and make ourselves known and available, that we no longer falling for the okie doke, or is it a yoki doke? But nevertheless, we're not falling for the lies anymore. So the divine spirit, once we get this mastered and having the power to define, so we can have the power to control, we do not have to look to the same system that's it has enslaved us and exploit us and demise us and mistreat us, to validate us. We need no validation. That's just like you're going to a church, and then they're gonna have you to fill out an application to become a member. Uh, where is it written in, even in their Bibles, Qurans, or Torahs, or whatever the case may be, where the divine says you got to fill out an application to be one of mine, to be in the family of J. Well, they're God. That's stupid and that's ignorant, but unfortunately, it remains foolish and ignorant when they look to the same people who's telling the lie to explain the lie. So we just have to be able to now to take what truly belongs to us without validation, and to know when the divine spirit is leading us and guiding us. We need not no piece of paper to validate us. We've been validated just by hearing from the divine spirit and being our steps being ordained by the divine spirit. So, um, okay, absolutely. Greetings. Okay, Redbird. Did you step out and come back in? Greetings. Um, power, as far as summing it up, basically, um, how it's for us to take a real good look at those who are professing to give us truth. I've come to the conclusion also, just because something appears to be perfect doesn't, I mean, not perfect, precise, or like for instance, when somebody is um like prophesying over your life, accuracy does not necessarily mean um truth, because they might, I mean, because they're dealing with a spirit too. Even though in order to speak lies, you must first be aware of some truth. So when the adversaries speak lies, there's some truth in it to convince you, but at the end of the day, it is to entrap you. So they can prophesy over your life and speak things that seems like accurate on your personality, your experiences, but pretty much when you live in up under a patriarchal or a system, everybody is affected by the same politics, money, religion, education, and the outcome. Some people's reaction or their, what you call, their situation, or the it's like what, the conclusion or the consequences of what has happened. Everybody is pretty much the same. They have like basic things that they can relate to, but at the same time, some people's degrees are more so than others. So it's easy for somebody to just say some things in general that will actually captivate somebody, and can say because they can relate to it. But keep in mind, um, whenever the divine spirit, due to the fact that she didn't create money in the beginning, that means whatever it is needed for us in our survival is freely given to us. So it's like you would not have to pay for advice, because if somebody is in the right frame of their heart and the right frame of mind, they know that the knowledge of something is more valuable than trying to hold on to something for value. It has no value because it's unmeasurable. So they know what the community need. They know what the household need. They know what the individual needs, and they don't need to try to charge for it when people are in need to actually hear it for free, and they actually charge an outrageous price for the community that really would benefit from the truth. They would not be able to receive it because it's at an amount that they can't necessarily pay for. So the divine allowed me to get to confirm some information by paying for it, because she told me to buy the truth but sell it not. So, in order for me to confirm some of the things that the divine spirit is giving me, she revealed even more of the same information in context through some books or some DVDs, or whatever it is. But I had to pay for it. But when she told me to go out and share that information with my sisters and brothers, that I'm not supposed to charge, which makes a lot of sense, because it's not about a system of money that she didn't create. When it's we're getting ready, well, she done already made the paradigm shift. So this is the blessing when the truth comes, and the true messengers and the deliverers of it, they know the significance of the information that they have, and they wouldn't charge for it. Now, if somebody wants to give contributions, we don't even have to ask for it because it would be laid upon their heart to do whatever they felt like they need to do. But information is free. So, nevertheless, so one of the tests is to see if we can treat people exactly the same way once we are given the power. So that's one of the tests that will be among us, and that's what happened to many other people. All of a sudden, they were humble, and then once they receive money, they become bougie. So, but she chosen us in these last days to be able, um, Nehemiah, what is it? Naima Nura. That is what I keep saying, Mama. Okay, so we're in agreement. Buy the truth, but sell it not. Exactly. That's what I just said. That's what the divine, and that's actually, I think that's even in the Bible um because I know the spirit, it was written in something, and when she put it in my heart some years, many years ago, it was written in something. um and I'm thinking it's the Bible. It's the Bible or one of my comedic books. But I'll look and see where is my but anyway, so now summing up money, we as aspirants in this present system, in this present time of eternity, in order to meet the needs of what we have accomplished as far as a roof over our head, to if we don't own land to farm it, um, to put roof over our head and food in our mouth and clothes on our backs, we have to pay for everything. But when you actually look back and research, money wasn't even being used when there was a time of peace and harmony. If anything, it was more closer to what they call bartering, because our ancestors, they would know, like everybody has a gift, and if you see something that you can benefit from somebody else's gift, then you have a gift within you too. So if you're able to sew and somebody else is a better cook, then you all can work together and produce the clothing, and that person can focus on the cooking. Or if somebody's better at tilling the ground versus somebody who's able to build, it's a family, it's a communal affair, and everybody would know everybody's gift, and that you all work together. But the divine spirit, she did reveal to me in reference to the money was created. I mean, it's the oldest deception, and it's the complete opposite of her wisdom and her compassion and her generosity and our cooperation among one another, let alone justice, because this greatly reduces the presence, of our everlasting parent, and our effectiveness of doing good deeds, and our character would decrease and increase greed. So falsehood and injustice. So when money is the balancer to determine if somebody can have something or have not, then that is definitely going to be a problem. And the primary concept that permits evil and evil things to prosper and flourish, while good and good things struggle, and suffer, and it is a world's economic system that is are organized. Um, because I'm still trying to pull up this. Okay. Um, Organized upon strong lies, a structure of lies. So actually, I have a whole probably it's probably about a 200-page essay on money, the history, and everything. I don't know. I might be able to sit down and share that. Just do a private taping and then post it. Because in order to keep it moving and not taking 2 hours and turn into the 4 or 5 hours, it would probably be better that I just go on and just record it and then post it. By truth. Let's see if this is in here. Uh, truth. Okay. Oh, it is. And so I actually did see it in oh, that light is going to be a problem. I don't know if you are going to be able to, because I call myself um it's in Proverbs 23:23. It says, by the truth. I'm assuming you all are seeing this backwards. But it says, buy the truth and sell it not. Um, Also, wisdom and instruction and understanding. See, right there. So it's a good thing when you can read divine counsel, you get an understanding, and then she gives you clarity of what that means. And majority, probably 100%, probably 90% of the proverbs come from our own ancestors. So, your heart is going to be able to connect to truth anyway, because it's going to actually make sense and it's not going to have you to suffer. It's going to be something that's easy that you can actually implement in your life to make life a little bit more easier and comfortable to deal with, and makes yourself available to be helpful to others. So yeah, there it is. Proverbs 23:23. Buy the truth and sell it not. So if I was to pick it, the churches, I would definitely make one of my signs. That's the reason why in their Bibles, um, their what they believe in as their savior actually went into these so-called churches, or I don't know if they call them temples, synagogues, or whatever the case may be, and turned over the money changers table, because it wasn't about selling, it wasn't about money. He said, you've made my house of prayer into a house of thieves. And that's exactly what they are. They are thieves, um, coming in the name of even their false god of what they created, and pass off as truth. Is still the same thing. And then you turn around and you're selling books and you're selling tapes and you're selling this and you're selling that, but yet there's nothing in your conversation, your ministry, your messages that's truly leading the people to truth, because you're focused on the light. And that's the reason why we have to come to the conclusion, when you read in their Bible, says they give them basically what they want to hear and not what they need to hear. And they said, I call them silly women, but going to and fro by every wind of doctrine. And at the same time, they just have itchy ears. They just want to hear what will singly apply to them, and not necessarily from a communal perspective. Let me see. Um, yes, Joel's B. Proverbs 23:23, Mama. I don't know if that came before or after I showed it, but thank you. Naima Anura says they created money to be a barrier between us and the divine. Exactly. And so that we first seek it for what we need instead of what the divine provides. Exactly, Naima. Naima Nura, Joe's B. It did. Uh, oh, okay. Excuse me. I woke up with an irritating cough periodically throughout the day. So you all excuse me, but it's not going to hinder my steps to get up in the morning and take this drive to sacred ground so I can do what I've been called and chosen to do. Coughing and everything. The divine already knows what I'm going to be dealing with. But believe me, she's not going to keep not one jot or one tittle from my mind or my heart or my pen and paper. Write down whatever it is that she's going to give me. Oh, I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited. I was trying to show that it was IB. Oh, in the Bible. Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it, Joel's B. Well, thank you for that backup. So sometimes I can just simply say, look up so I don't have to like try to fumble through it. If I know Joe's B is here, I'm going to say, Joe's B, can you look this up to confirm it? Thank you. So isn't that a beautiful thing that you are able to confirm it? Ian. Yeah, I know there's a like a little delay. So we as the aspirants of divine work and are in her will are we have to understand that having a lot of money, the key question would be, does our personality change? Now remember, the ones that she's awakening and rising up, we're coming from the bottom, so we're not rich. I mean, we don't have um, what the world it looks to see. It's like whatever it is that we believe, they look. The world looks for um, confirmation based on what it is that you have. So, out of their ignorance, they come to the conclusion that only wisdom can come out of the mouth of somebody who's rich or somebody that has something that you can offer the people. But it's not about them nor their wealth, especially when they're about to lose it all. They're getting ready to have to go through a transformation. They're getting ready to have to deal with the one thing that they look down upon other people who has without because they demand to have and not even look at the first class. And I call us the first class because and when you look at a ladder, the first step is at the bottom. So therefore, who's the first class? The people at the bottom. Okay, so you can't even get to middle class, nor the what they call the upper class, rich class, or whatever, until you step on the first class. And then when you step on the backs of the first class, and then you forget about the first step that you took to get you to where you are, uh, you are definitely going to be held accountable and you're going to be worthy of the judgment that comes upon you. And it's not about you just talking about our problems without us involving us in that problem and seeking what it is that we need versus what you want to talk about in order to gain notoriety. No, I probably didn't sound that right. Uh, to gain notoriety, I have an issue with pronouncing certain things. So, but notoriety, I think it's pronounced notoriety. No, somebody help me. Let them know, mom. Oh, so yeah. So we are the first class because we all started off with this free spirit where we didn't have all of these strongholds and having to pay bills and be on somebody else's time clock and having to report this and having to report this. We were placed on this cosmic garden to not only contribute to beautifying it, but to maintain it and sustain it just the way it was, where everything was freely given to us. Simplicity is better than richness. I mean, of wealth of materialistic things. Because when a person wants peace after working hard, when they choose to go on vacation, why else do they go to vacation someplace where it's secluded? They go someplace where it's like they're not wanting to hear any phone ringing. They can care less about the TV. They just want some peace and quiet. So even a rich person who can't even understand that that's the way it's supposed to be on a daily basis, where you don't have to hustle and bustle to meet somebody else's demands. You're supposed to be able to live in that truth of being able to, okay, I'm hungry. Oh, there's a mango tree. Oh, let me just go get a little, eat a little bit, and then enjoy the rest of the day. I mean, making sure that, like, if you find something because you have an artistic talent. Trees die on a daily basis. Stones are there. Anything from a natural substance, you can take and be creative and say, look, Divine Mother, look, our everlasting parent, look what I did with what is here available to me. And the word free probably didn't even exist simply because it was there. I mean, it was there and available. Um, Oh, thank you, Jules B. Notoriety. Yes. And King Lion. Oh, greetings. Greetings. Oh, welcome, King Lion. It's so beautiful to see that you made it here. Blessed, all the way from the United Kingdom. I'm glad you made it. Greetings and love to everyone. Jules B. Greetings, King Lion. So, yeah, so that's the beauty of it. It's really amazing when you actually stop and think about it. When people want peace and quiet, they go to nature. But yet those who live in nature, they look down upon. Because they don't want the conversation and that type of knowledge to be like the focal point. Because that's not what they're trying to get you to understand or understand, so you can apply. And because you can't really miss something. They say out of sight, out of mind. And that's the reason why they're constantly trying to move everybody into the city so they can be out there destroying Mother Nature, for their own purposes. But see, we've made that transformation, that paradigm shift. It's no longer, we have to look to more love to you, Mama. Oh, thank you, King Lion. Bless it. Excuse me, blessings. And so, yeah, I actually, excuse me, you all. I actually opened up what they call Google Plus, because I've seen some people on what you call it, on YouTube when they do their interviews with other people, that they have. I can see the emblem of Google Plus, and they take phone calls, and they can add other people inside their video. So I downloaded it, but I'm not um understanding how you combine the two, the YouTube and the Google Plus. And I also downloaded something that was supposed to allow me. Now I have a Google phone call. I mean, a Google phone number. So I'm trying to think. I'm gonna see if, okay. I'm gonna post the phone number. Um, let's see if I can find it. The phone number. Okay, that's Google Hangout. Now, is Google Hangout the one that's supposed to give you a phone number? I think it is. I wonder if I open it up, will it close my window? Because I want somebody to call the number and see if it's gonna automatically enter into the YouTube. Um, Let me see. So I'm like almost reluctant to open this, but I think I actually wrote it. Wait a minute, I have it in my, because you never know what you're capable of doing without attempting. Um, so let's see. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna pull it up in my phone, and then I'm gonna post the number under. Let's see, Google Plus. Let me see, and then hope. Let's see if somebody call me. Um, uh, if it's going to work. Google Plus, the plus sign, right there. Oh, it already said nope. That's not in there. Um, Google Drive, Google Books. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna spend. But we'll get it together. We'll get it together. Thank you for your patience and forgive me for that little interruption. But I'm so excited. I really want to hear you all's voices. I did download what I thought I needed. Okay, Alex Little says Google Hangouts and Zoom both work. Perhaps do a trial and error run before live. Yeah, the young lady that I was reaching out to, um, she didn't answer the phone. But when I called her from Google Hangouts, we was able to talk on there, but I just don't know how to combine the Google Hangout with the YouTube. Do you know how to do that, Alexis Little? I mean, Alex Little or King Lion? Do you know how to do that? If you do, like, text it to me. I'm just, I'm like one of those people who learn from, hands on. I don't want to read it. I don't want to no, I need to see it and I need to touch it. Because I do a lot of reading. And the only thing that I like to take space in my mind is of the divine. So when it comes to technical stuff, I rather just see it and then, and apply it with my hands. But that space up here is for the divine, and to keep me in line. So, but if you all know, um, just let me know one way or the other. Okay, so in reference to the money, just doing an overview so we can get straight to the lesson for today. So we have to recognize, that she called us in our innocence and in our simple life, even though it's full of challenges, but she allowed us to be who we are, and in spite of the maybe the challenges that we have, she also examines our heart and our minds, and she knows that the people that she's calling forth, the gifts will come, but we are not to change the divine one that's within us. And some people have been called and they failed the test. And so now, either or, with the understanding that the divine will get her glory out of your life, whether you're in agreement or not, But when she told me it was two type of witnesses that she's only concerned about. There's basically there's a living witness and there's a dead witness. So she asked me which one you want to be. And of course, naturally, I said a living witness. Okay, so that was a good choice. That means I took heed to the call. That means I get to live long enough to recognize the purpose of the call and even given an opportunity to speak in reference to the call and then be part of the call at a whole. Now, the dead witness, you can be a person, is what they call the living dead, the walking dead. For the ones who have a disagreeable spirit and not wanting to follow the divine spirit. it puts them in a situation that sometimes the actual flesh, the host of that spirit will die, and then some would live. But she just tells me that that means somebody else is going to have to use their story. And when coming from somebody who's about truth, then we're going to shine the light on the negativity of the disagreeable spirit. And in order to manifest and have a focal point, then that person would be subjected to being seen and perceived as a disagreeable spirit. So it only makes sense that you would choose to be the living witness and not a dead witness. Okay. Uh, the fact that you recognize the call is powerful in itself. Oh, Alex Little, yeah, thank you. Um, well, I'm obviously not the only one because you all are here with me. So you all have heard the call as well. So it's a beautiful thing that we're sharing in this blessing together. And once I get this phone situated on, then I get to interview you all like one by one, or have some of these what you call uh, what do you call it? I guess the window conference video. Yeah. And so you all can share your story as well, because we all have a testimony. You know, you can't be sent out in the world to change the world and be effective without a testimony. So we come with a testimony. That means we have to have our own testimony to show the power of the divine spirit within our own life. You know, so Alice Lynn says, one of my favorite quotes is by Ida B. Wells. The way we right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's beautiful. And it's a confirmation. Walking in the spirit. I mean, that's where we are the beam and light, and that our lamps are filled with the right anointing oil, that our presence would be significant and to be used in a mighty way. So as far as the money, we're not to use it to judge or to change ourselves or be judgmental of somebody else's position, or whether they're impoverished, or some of them could be rich and just have lost souls, and they still trying to reach out to make a divine connection, and you never know how the divine can use you of making that connection. And so after we went over power and money, we did go through fame, because in all actuality, power and money leads to fame. But so our ability to become famous is not to be famous in reference to a gathering of stuff, but to have a fame that you recognize the problem and you're trying to bring forth solutions. Because no matter what, when we look at the political and the religious system, they take a play upon the minds and the heart of the people, because they know what they seek. Because people have a birthright to be right. They have a birthright to be heard. They have a birthright to exist. They have a birthright to resist. And so they know the things that they're doing. People have a connection with themselves to know how they're being treated. Are they receiving justice as a whole, or are they just selfish in reference to recognizing only those things that apply to them and care not about others, like the same system that is supposed to be governing us? But the system in a whole, based on money, religion, politics, and education, it's a test within itself. Because some people just won't be able to make wise decisions until after an experience. and sometimes it takes a chaotic experience in order for us to appreciate and desire peace. So the divine, her wisdom is at work during the whole process. And then we went over false pride. The false pride is a terrible thing, to profess to be a man of valor or a virtuous woman, and then when time to actually utilize and exercise those attributes, you've become hidden, because it's about challenging, it's about sacrificing, so we don't want to allow false pride to be part of our divine characteristics, the attributes, but to recognize it for what it is. Don't pretend to be something that you're not. And if it's something that you desire that somebody else has, just ask the Divine Mother for your portion of understanding and having clarity of the position that was ordained, and to give you your singularity and your essence and your uniqueness. Because no matter what, we're all working for this together. So we don't necessarily need to try to take each other's gift when we have a gift that was already assigned to us, and it's going to work together. Like I said, rather singly, but not, it's still collectively, or like a tiger, solitary, but yet solidarity. But the lioness prides, and the lions and the cubs, they can show us how to work as a unit, especially when it comes to hunting down our enemies. So, yep, yep, yep. So let's see. Alice, one of my favorite. Okay, Alice Little. Yes, those chaotic experiences wake us up too. Exactly. And Red versus. Yep. So after false pride comes greed. This is almost like the seven, what they call it, the seven deadly sins, but I think I counted like 14 or 15 of these attributes that the divine spirit is letting us know to be aware of. They can be a blessing or they can be a stronghold, or what some people would call a cursing. But you can't be a curse unless you believe in curses. We just have a information, miseducation, and um, uh, 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 appointing that energy in the wrong place because of a lack of knowledge. Because we're not a cursed people. We just been misinformed. And based on everything around us, it's based on what the system has created in order for our demise. No matter which way we turn, when we look to the language of our oppressors and colonizers, it's going to be a foundation to keep them elevated and us dissipated. But when you're looking and being guided by the spirit, it allows us to even see beyond what the adversary thinks he knows. So Elaine says, people must seek to claim back their divine birthright. The only ones teaching this knowledge is the Moors. Seek them out and study the wisdom in order to free ourselves from this system. Okay, so King Lion, based on a conversation that we had before, I would like for you to post the difference between the agreeable and disagreeable Moors, because there's a conflict of interest and a conflict of information. So if you're going to tell the people to look to the Moors, um, direct us to the ones that you can approve of as the right information, so we don't get caught up with the wrong information and the wrong sect and the wrong leader who's going to be teaching us contrary. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so greed is truly the vilest quality. Um, be being that piece of puzzle that the divine, our glory of the divinity, has for us to recognize the ego quality of greed would have us to try to acquire other people's pieces of the divine's plan. Like I was saying before, that coincides with false pride as well. And then we went over transcending duality. Duality goes far beyond just transcending what some people would consider the top dog, underdog complex. It applies to all aspects of our life. And as we have understand, like there's a masculine and a feminine, there's a truth and then there's a wrong. Well, I mean, a truth and a lie. There's a right and there's a left. There's always an opposite of itself. But when you have like being guided by your single center eye, um, even the two can come together and work together as an energy to keep you on that straight and narrow path. So transcending duality is not to be confused, going to left to right and being wavery in all your ways. And that makes an unstable person. So the masculine and feminine can work together, and they can become as one when they're focused on the same goals and the same purpose. So then, I mean, you can look back into the previous videos, um, and to get more of the covering of the different things that the divine spirit has let me bring forth according to these different aptitudes. I mean, um, attitudes. Well, spirits. And then you have jealousy. That's kind of self-explanatory, but the spiritual path is really quite easy to understand, to understand. I mean, if we want to be in compliance with our everlasting parent, then we are supposed to, how you say, reflect her will. We can't reflect her in totality simply because the divine has eyes and she can see all things. But we be lucky to have the vision of 2020. Okay, she has the ears to hear the request of all, but we be lucky to hear the request of our own children or somebody standing on the corner asking for a help. The divine can speak all things into existence. But can we actually speak encouragement and love and compassion and have empathy and sympathy within our words of really truly being sincere about the help that we're trying to give? So we're not made in the image, we're made out of the image of the divine spirit. So, but we are like a planet of our own in that great light, which is the sun, which happens to be a feminine, the mother nature, like I was sharing with you all yesterday, according to our Kemetic ancestors in the Nile Valley and some of the other cultures in the um, on the continent of what I call true Eden. Um, okay, King Lion says there was a split within the Moors because of infighting. However, Taj Tariq Bey is an excellent teacher. He would clear up misconceptions. Check him on YouTube. Okay, Lady Lotus, you say you're back. Okay, because you're the one that's at work. Okay, so King Lion. Okay, so when you were saying that people must seek to claim back their divine birthright, um, the only one who's teaching this knowledge is the Moors. Seek them out and study the wisdom in order to free ourselves from this system. Okay, so um, the Moors are actually people like us, right? Um, I mean, I heard about Moors. I've seen pictures of the Moroccan Moors, So they are people, they are flesh and blood. So in order to teach truth, that means it's coming from a higher power than flesh and blood, because it's coming from a cosmic wisdom or an earthly understanding and understanding of Mother's nature of what she produces as wisdom. So the divine spirit, in reference to divine birthright, claiming back our divine birthright, the only one who can truly grant us that is the divine spirit. Now, it's going to be confirmed through the process of elimination, of eliminating those who actually have that truth um, in their possessions and trying to keep it from us. But one of the paths on this journey is to uproot what it is that they have. Anything that they've been hiding from us will be revealed, and those things that's been kept secret will be manifest. So I'm looking forward to meeting, having somebody. Well, why not you? I mean, because you're speaking from a more perspective. So why would we have to look to somebody else and you just share what it is that you know and we can build from there? I don't know who this Aj Tariq Bey is, but I would first rather hear it from somebody that's already within us, because the divine spirit did tell me that there's going to be coming somebody with some truth from each basically each thought process of philosophy that our ancestors, or well, even more so today, has been followed. And somebody has to have that pure truth. So I'm open to hearing in reference to what it is exactly that they teach and how we can apply it on this journey. But at the same time, the divine spirit is going to be utilizing her wisdom and not man's appointed wisdom of what hasn't worked yet. Because if it was true, we would have been freed a long time ago. So I'm still in honor of what it is that you're bringing forth. And I'm looking forward to you sharing. And then as I view this Tyreek person, then the spirit will guide my thoughts on what to do and to take it from there. So I appreciate you bringing forth that jewel, that seed, and may it grow and bear fruit accordingly. Okay. Divine Naima Nura, divine sight, divine knowing, is my birthright. Once I have reclaimed those things, I can clear see whom are of the truth. Yes, blessed. King Lion says, absolutely. The Moorish teachings are cosmic and ordained. So I'm looking forward to hearing more, because I know I've been to, well, I didn't go, but I wound up in the middle of a Moorish class, because I was actually going to a class that I used to go to, that it was a comedic class, and I didn't know that they had relocated. And I walked into this class and I'm like, whoa, what is this? You know, they had like those hats with the tassels on it, and they were just, it was maybe about maybe 12 to 15 of them in the room. And I didn't turn around. I just literally just came on in, sat down, and just started listening to what it was that they were saying. And so eventually, the divine spirit allowed me to open up my mouth, and they asked for me to come back, but the spirit hasn't sent me back there yet. So I'm also looking at everything from a spiritual perspective. And since this more conversation is starting to come up even more often, I truly believe the spirit is telling me to have an ear open for it, and it might be the time to make some connections, and to actually research and see. Because I actually, like maybe 9 years ago, I wound up because what was it? It was a class. It was a Moorish class that I went to, or the introduction of one when they were telling us how to get our nationality and everything, and they was exposing about the straw man and all these things. So I had questions. I had questions in reference to what he was saying, and unfortunately, the teacher, our leader, or I don't know what they call, the person who's actually speaking and teaching, he was getting quite irritated with me on the questions that I have. And I'm like, well, look, I mean, I was invited here. And if I'm going to give ear, and that's not just that's for everybody. It's like I have a it's kind of like a motto, if people get offended by questions, then how can I trust their answer? So that was my first experience, but I actually wound up with their manual, and I don't know how I wound up with it, but after I got home, I had what it was that he was handing out in reference to the teaching. So I have pretty much like an outline of what it was that he was teaching about the straw man, the nationality, the information in reference to the Queen of England perceiving us as stepchildren, and all kind of things. So that's here at the house, and I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna take a couple of hours and read it and refresh my memory, so I can see what the divine spirit is also sharing. Um, Fizz. Oh, Alex Little says Fizz hats. Okay. Okay, I noticed. Okay, King Lion says the Moorish knowledge is a part of the jigsaw. There are many pieces of the puzzles of life. Yeah, and they're actually distributed out through every most major religions. Like, there's some truth in Christianity. There's some truth in Islam. There's some truth in Moorish. There's some truth in Buddha. There's some truth in Taza. I mean, it's another Asian. And there's some truth in the Persians, the Zoroastrianism. All of them have some truth. So that's the reason why the divine spirit was telling me that there's going to be a seat of council, and it's going to be a representator of each of those different sects of a way of thinking and philosophy. But the ones that she's going to send are the ones who are going to be more accurate with the truth, instead of the mainstream religion of the so-called truth. So yes, I'm in agreement with that, King Lion. Okay. Let's see. So and then so we did the jealousy and the vanity, truly examining our deepest motivations and intents. Um, Basically, in its regard, what is our motive? Because we can make plans, but if we're not even asking the divine spirit to bless them, then we're open to kind of like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So also, it's like when we come into the knowledge of um, having the ability to ask the divine for guidance, she's going to search out our heart. She's going to search out our motives, and she's going to grant accordingly. So vanity, in reference to spending time looking at others, we have to sometimes stand in the mirror and take a good look at ourselves as well, and to be honest and open and transparent. The egotism, well, that's almost self-explanatory. The final major test as far from a spiritual path is, getting rid of that ego, I mean, there's really is only one problem in life for all of the aspirants, and even non-aspirants, but we're faced with our souls and having an ego, not being humble and full of pride, not wanting to be wrong, even though that we can perceive that there's a lie present. So it's an ego. Like, unfortunately, I have a family member, that he would prefer to be right, even knowing it's wrong, because he doesn't want to lose that position of control and dominance in his household. So that's the type of we can't advance with an ego when it's not about um, an individual. It's about collectively being able to work together. And the divine wants us to have that type of consciousness that what it is that we're being called and chosen to do is not about singular. It's about, it's plural. It's more than just about us. We have to take others in consideration of their needs and make sure that their wellness is the first priority, because the enemy has utilized division by this sign. We will divide and conquer. So that means we are the repairers of the breach, to put men back what has been divided, and to put ourselves in a position that we can no longer be conquered. And the first priority is the changing of the way we think, which will give us the ability to have the proper knowledge that we can apply, and that can be fruitful for the purpose thereof. So, King Lion says, remember, our divine birthright has been compromised by the birth certificate. Yep, that's in there too. Uh-huh. And contract that holds as perpetual slaves to the system. This is why we have to pay bills and parking tickets, etc. Yes, and I am so looking forward to divine using us to uproot it, because there's a root. It's like when people are more focused on the fruit or the branches in the vine, but not looking at the trunk and going to the root of the problem. Because this is the reason why it's been being able to be perpetuated for so long. As long as you have the what we call the free radicals, the germ, the parasite, the bacteria, amongst us. If we do not clean that, get rid of it, um, even if you just allow one to be present, it can multiply and continue on the lies. So it is important for us to be um, knowing that it's their time to be eliminated in order for us to be elevated. But the divine doesn't want any of her children, even the disagreeable, are her children, because her breath of life dwells within them, but she's going to give them an opportunity to repent and turn away from their um, schisms and isms and wicked ways that they have come accustomed to displaying and dominating. But at the same time, when you're just disagreeable and you go try to hide to try to save your life, you're going to wind up losing it. So, and the only ones that really is going to maintain and be able to sustain life is for those who are actually acknowledging and connecting themselves to life. So I give thanks and I give honor that her divine omnipresence and omnipotent. Now remember, when I say her and I say she, I'm including masculine and feminine, because when you look at the word she, it beholds she and he, but the S comes first, so it allows her, it shows that she gives birth to he. And then when you see the he, I mean the her, you see the he first, and then there's the R, which is her reproduction. And so, without her reproduction of she, he would not exist. But in order for me to recognize the masculine and feminine, the mother and the father, I just want to just put that little pointer out there, that I'm acknowledging both. And then the contents of what I speak would be self-explanatory of who I'm speaking of at this present time. So I just wanted to, okay. So we made it through vanity and egotism. So wait a minute, we didn't go through jealousy and vanity and egotism. Oh, okay. So we went over attachments, sexuality, desire, and anger, transcending fear and selfishness. Yeah, selfishness. So tonight we're going to go over jealousy, vanity, and egotism, and we're going to bring it to a conclusion. So far, it is now 911. 911, and I should be through these jealousy, vanity, and egotism by 10 o'clock. Yes, at least that's what I'm shooting for, hoping for. Okay, get my mouse. Mm, I just gotta keep up with. Oh, Barama, you said she's back. Welcome back, Barama. Lady Lotus, you're back too. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go in the lesson. So today we're speaking in reference to jealousy, which stems from insecurity and attachments, basically, and hence the the need to compete with others instead of to cooperate. You know, cooperation, to inclusion. Not coming up with ways to think how this person would not be suitable versus inclusion, including. So we have to come to know that jealousy is totally of the negative ego and should be released at the cost of not of our divine everlasting parent. Um, we can't point the finger at the divine spirit of being the corporate of every flaw that we have, because the divine is not going to um, tempt you or test you from the perspective of the one thing that, well, the many things that she's going to uproot. But because of the system that we have created outside of nature, the consequences created these type of spirits that we have to be aware of. That's been keeping us bound um, to the to this system way of life. So it is some of us are, we be connected also with the negative ego quality of envy. Envying, that's not a good characteristic, because especially when you actually know your own worth, or how we our ancient of days say, to know thyself, that you're significant, and you're powerful in your own right, your own uniqueness and your own essence. You have something that I can't do. I have something that you can't do. I mean, in reference to the gifts that the divine spirit has applied to each and every one of us in order for us to recognize the Ubuntu among us, that I exist because you exist, and we exist together because the divine gave us existence. And so we'll work together in compliance. Um, so it is very much connected also with greed and selfishness. You know, some of the previous um, um, attributes of the strongholds that we have come to learn that has given us um, in these wavery ways. So also we have all heard of the term green with envy, you know, greener on the other, excuse me, greener on the other side is very much connected with still the greed and the selfishness. And the main point here is to again be connected to the group of consciousness, divine consciousness, and one's identity with all creation. You know, our place here is significant, and we are to work in line with the laws of nature and the laws of the universe. So one's true identity of to know thyself, our eternal self, and not the physical body and the personality, but just knowing that we are significant for just being here and making that divine connection with our creatress, and that it'll bring forth our uniqueness, and then we can salute each one of us as being a divine presence of the absolute. So it's also that we can connect one with all creations, that we realize the truth of our simplicity and happiness, and benefit another achieves our happiness. Every suffering, um, when we're suffering of another, we suffer too because we're connected, and vice versa. So we would want to create an atmosphere, you know, like you can go on certain people's homes and everything just seems so peaceful and serene. And then you go to somebody else's house and it can be so chaotic and just totally off balance, you know. But the one that makes you feel good and feel comfortable is something that you would want to desire for everybody in order to experience that simplicity and peace. So, so then I'm just recognizing this will connect us, you know, to the divine creation that is our teacher through nature and experiences. And even though we may suffer, you know, for a while, this is what makes us perfect and strengthens and settle us right into our high calling. So it's not to be done in vain, you know, and the things that we are dealing with is not to devour us from our divine, everlasting parent perspective, but is to empower us, because you can make greater laws when you are directly affected by the injustice of the self appointed laws and policies of those who call themselves being leaders and supposed to be the constituents. And their minds is supposed to be about making wellness in our life simple, but we got a long way from that because it's not about us. It was about them receiving power, you know. So we just have to recognize that jealousy can truly be a stumbling block and a stronghold. So we, as aspirants, are not to get caught up with looking at somebody else's gift when we have our own gift to be focused on and to bring forth our contribution, and just recognize the I say the confirmation, the kindred spirit between the two, because they would complement each other, and we can work together and build together when we have commonality. Also, the spiritual path is really quite easy. You know, like I said, to overstand and to come into the knowledge, if it was meant to be, it will come back to us, you know. And if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't returned. I think there was something like a proverb in reference to letting the bird go. And if the bird was to come back, then it was the relationship was meant to be. but we are to be happy. We are to be divine in our mind, because knowing that we're on a path to make a difference and we are the solution, we are the change that people are praying for is within us. And we don't look to the system that has enslaved us to validate us. We recognize that the power to change and take us out of our situation is within us, and it's going to come through different avenues. So that's the reason why I truly believe that the seat of council, that's going to involve different cultures and different perspectives of philosophy is going to be paramount. I mean, it's going to be necessary in order for us to make that connection, in order to be able to minister among all nations near and far. So, good to have you in the room. Oh yeah. Okay, so vanity. Um, there is nothing wrong in life with taking care of one's physical body and wanting to look nice and attractive. You know, there's a lot of things that we come across in nature. It's beautiful in its natural environment, but for some reason we just like to put it on. And we because even like I think Joel's, if you're still in the room, there's a part in the Bible, I think in uh, Isaiah or Ezekiel, when it was, oh no, even in the book of Proverbs, it says that, the attractive, even when you put on these adornments, it makes you even more attractive. But the divine sees us as being attractive just the way she allowed us to come into the world with complete nakedness. But supplying, when you can take something that can beautify enhance your beauty, um, and you're just taking, like, for instance, the earring in the Bible says, when men were starting to wear earrings, it shows that they were slaves. I don't know if it was one earring. I think it was one earring or two earrings. And then when they came out of bondage, they took off all of their jewelry, and then unfortunately they melted it and made an idol for them to worship, and this, that, and the other. But there's like over 700, what did I call it? 700 discrepancies throughout the Bible. So you know that there's obviously more than one writer, because one writer will say that you not to do this, and another writer will say it's okay to do that. And see, the divine spirit is not the author of confusion. So the divine spirit didn't even authorize the book of confusion, but she can still open our eyes and see what was related to our ancestors, but at the same time, with the same eyes, show us the lies and the interpretations and the translations that has no way of empowering our nation. So it's like a tree of life, of a tree of knowledge of good and evil, and you have to be able to distinguish between the two, which would allow us to be able to apply the Proverbs and Psalms, the wisdom of the word. But when it comes to genealogy, chronicles, and this, that, and the other, we already know the English language is only like 700 years old. So we can't let Johnny come lately teaching and translations and interpretation be our direction. So the book says, look to the Ancient of Days, look to the old past, and then those things that has been revealed is for our learning and our empowerment. Oh, excuse me. I did my exercise today. Oh, oh. And it's been, after I got out of the hospital like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So today was my first day back to um, exercising. Barama Baba agreed. Mama Lioness and Doctor. Oh, welcome back, Brahmana Baba. Thank you. I'm not sure when that post went up there, so I'm not quite sure what you were agreeing to, but considering everything that I'm speaking, um, hopefully I'm sure there's agreement. Lady Lotus, are you Glenn? Is oh Tanya Queen Rise. Okay, Tanya, right? Glennis, no sis. I'm getting okay. So this is King Lion says, the said Bible equally states that religion is the author of confusion. Yeah, see, that to me, when I read the verse that says um God is not the author of confusion. I actually said, well, then that means the book is not written by the divine because there's all kind of confusion throughout this Bible. I've come to the knowledge of at least 700 contradictions in the Bible. Now, preachers, false prophets, false preachers, and teachers are not going to point out those contradictions. And that's what the spirit of truth is supposed to lead and guide you to all truth and bring those things back to your remembrance. So I'm grateful and thankful for all the things that the divine has revealed to me that is a contradiction. And I'm sure there's more than what a list of what I have, but she basically let me know this is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the only reason why I can say it's good because with the knowledge of knowing that it began with our ancestors, the Sibyls, and it was pleasurized from their teaching and their legacy, then that's why I can say it's some truth in there. But there is so much lies, and in order to be convincing to a people, that's what the adversary had to do is put some truth, but still a hidden truth. But you can't hide something from the eyes of from the apple of the divine's eyes, because our eyes will be open and we will see and perceive things differently than what somebody is trying to tell us what to think instead of us using our birthright, divine right on how to think. And that's where spirituality separates itself from religion. So, okay. So, I guess vanity. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. So, truly, we must examine the deepest motivations and intent um, that regards the desires of things that we become vain about. Um, and it's important to have good grooming habits, of course. And now I took in what they would call the Nazarite vow years ago, and that's the reason why I started my lots um, from when I was studying according to, wanting to fit in where the spirit was allowing me to perceive myself. So the Nazarite vow, is like to be set apart for what they call holy purposes. So I know that my divine intervention was not it didn't happen in nobody's church or nobody's temple or congregation. I was at home minding my own business. So I had to take that experience and go through the book. And when the divine revealed to me, I'm being um, to take the vow to be set apart for the divine purposes, I was able to connect to it. So that's when I started my lots. Now, let me show you all a picture of what I used to look like um, before I started wearing locks. Hold on. Just bear with me. And hopefully it's even in here. because I had connected my phone to my computer, and it downloaded all my pictures um, onto my computer. So I had to find out where the um, like when you put in a memory card in your phone to store, so you can have more room to store. That might be where the picture that I want to show you of what I looked like back in the day before locks. Mm, it might be on the drive, and then I have to figure out how to get to the drive. But yeah, I come on, it's gotta be in here somewhere. Well, if anybody actually ever looked at the my video, my trailer, in reference to um the seat of emotions, the kidneys, there's a picture of me um in that trailer, because I don't know how to pull up that stories. I was looking for the, yeah, I don't know. I I don't know. But if you look at the trailer on my YouTube channel in reference to the trailer for the seat of emotions, the kidneys, then you'll see a picture, a still picture in there of me with this smile. Um, and then of course I didn't have locks. I just had my hair down. But I don't know how to access my storage on this phone. Sometimes it pops up and sometimes it don't, but I'm not gonna spend any more time trying to look. But am telling you, there's a picture in that particular PowerPoint. No, it's not a PowerPoint. It's a trailer that only lasts for a minute. So sometimes you might have to stop it, and just in order to get a see the picture. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, I gotta figure this out, how to access my storage. Maybe somebody's answering it for me. Um, oh, Lady Lotus says she misses her locks. And Alice Little says stepped out. She'll be right back. Yeah, because Alice Little is at work, I think. Oh no, that was well, I know. Overseer Lady Lotus, you should regrow them. Why not? Yeah, it's never too late. Um, and then Lady Lo, I'd love to, not accepted on the plantation. Not, huh? Lady Lo, Lady Lotus, you said you love to, not accepted on the plantation. What? Okay, I'm looking forward to you clarifying that. Okay, wow. Yes, ma'am. I hate not being able to be myself. Um, okay, are you talking about like on your job? Uh, that you can't, Lady Lotus, why not? I know that woke everybody up, right? Like, what? Yeah, her job. Oh. Now, um, can I ask what kind of work you do where you can't find an employer that can accept you? And as a matter of fact, didn't I just see a bill that's supposed to be submitted to the House of Representatives or the Congress about people discriminating against black hair and their black spouse or whatever? Because you're supposed to be able to. Mama, are you talking about the verses that says, "Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Most High looks at the heart. Yeah, I have mentioned that one before. Did I say that tonight? But yeah, that's the one I was looking at. Um, yeah, Alice Little. That's discrimination in reference to Lady Lotus, and I truly believe that they're actually working on a bill, or either the bill has already been passed that employers cannot discriminate against black hair because that's their culture. There are waiters with full beards. Yeah, look at the police officers and everything. They're actually not even supposed to be showing their tattoos. They're supposed to be wearing like these nylon stocking type of things to cover up their tattoos. But I see officers all the time with tattoos and they don't covering them up. That was Aston, California. Oh, you talking about the not discriminating against um, um, the melanated hair and culture? I mean, especially when it comes to natural hair, braided hair, and locks. That's a cultural thing, and I mean, we shouldn't even have to have laws up against that because everybody can be themselves except for us. No, because they know it's an energy. Locks as a Nazarite are to be set apart for divine purposes is like antennas. It's like an energy that works through our locks. And so some of them are quite aware. As a matter of fact, there's this one lady named, go by essay. She wrote a powerful essay, and I'm going to give you all her. Mm, this is it. Yeah, essay. Have you all ever heard of essay by Ekowa? Ekowa. She's got like a whole essay that like wow, it's a lot. And she covers the whole history about locks and where it originated from. Let's see. Okay, let's see. This essay. And this came to me like years after um I started my lot. So it was a beautiful thing that my reasoning of wearing my locks is confirmed outside of the Bible. Even though I was inspired by the Nazarite vow, the divine spirit allowed me to come across her teachings about the locks, and it's a long essay. So I'm going to put the link in the chat room, and you all can look at it for yourself. So let me see. How do you do that? Let's see. I'm sufficient in one thing, but I mean some things, but not in all things. So, um, like I told you, anything that I speak about or whatever, there's confirmation already out there. So I'm gonna put the link um, in the chat room. Marco M Official. Well, that's a new name in the chat room. Welcome, Marco M Official. Who are you addressing? Do you have a car? I don't, because I don't know how long this conversation. But hold on, let me see. Okay, okay. So I'm gonna the entire corporate employment structure is racist against melanated natural hair, wherein and they feel threatened by afro hairstyles and dreadlocks, and I believe folks wishing to wear their hair in. Yes. Now, there's a difference between dreadlocks and locks. Dreadlocks is actually accredited to the Jamaicans. Actually, they're the ones who started the terminology of dreadlocks because when the what was it, the French, the England, or whoever came over there to try to captivate the island, the rebellions went to the mountains, and out of rebellion, they started growing their locks, and they didn't tend to them. They didn't look, it's the matted. What you call dreadlocks are the ones that are like matted, and they look clumped together. That they don't have any um, individual structure. They're just like a matted, you know, like matted together. Those are called dreadlocks, and they would make them afraid to go after them because they dread coming up against them. So that's where the term dreadlocks come from. Now, Nazarite locks, they're more individualized, and some people might consider them to look like sister locks, but they're manageable. They kept up, but it's a representation of a vow. It's not for appearance purposes. It's just a symbol of a vow that you took. But now all of that will be explained if you go on this website. Hold on. And then actually, I'm going to have her. I'm gonna see if I can get her on as a guest. Mm-hmm. Um, to so she can tell her her story and she can introduce herself. Because that way, why take the fame, the glory from her when she can actually tell the story herself. I can touch on some points, but she would be somebody who would actually be more equipped with answering questions and this, that, and the other. So I'm going to see if I can get her on as a guest speaker in reference to the lots. Okay, and remember, y'all, I I type with one at a time, so I'm a little slow when it comes to stuff like that. Um, I try to speed it up, and then where is it? Oh, hold on, where to go? Oh, this one. Mm, just bear with me. Didn't know I was going to be covering this tonight, but I just want you all to have the information. So if you want to go research it and read more about it, so when it's time to actually have the guests on and discuss about the significance of locks, where it started from, and what the purpose of, and what it represents, you can hear it straight from the gifted sister herself. Um, okay, so 20 and okay, I got that, and then percent again. I'm almost there. You know how you when you get these website things, it's got like all this extra stuff that you, that you got to put in here to get, and I hopefully it'll be right when I do place it there because it's so much that you have to. But it's a representation of priesthood, so priestesses and 20, 20 priests. Okay. Uh, and that HT. Yeah. I don't know why that would be. Let me see. Oh, I see what the problem is. I had two P's. Okay. Priestess. Priest. Okay, well it looks right to me, but I don't know why they have Okay, so I'm getting ready to send it, and then on you all's own time, but just make sure you write it down. And then, if possible, and one of you, if not all of you, um, go to the link and see if it opens up to ECOA, the one I just had. Okay, okay, thanks. Oh, okay, okay. Make sure it goes to Essay by ECOA. So I'm sending it now. And if one of you all have time to check it out before I close the session today, I wonder if you can actually put a mouse on it and see if it goes straight to it. Okay, so let me see. You're beautiful at, let's see. You are too. Okay, Lady Lotus, that's great. Why are the locks considered dread? Oh, that must have came after I explained it. Let's see. Great question. I've heard stories of Medusa's snakehead originating from Locke's story. I don't know if these comments in reference to Barama asking why are the locks considered dreads. There's a difference between dreadlocks, and locks. Locks represents being set apart for holy purposes, sacred purposes, being used by the divine spirit versus the dreads that you see the Jamaicans wearing. They're the ones who invented it, and it's a form of rebellion. So the matted, the ones that are look matted and just unstructured, that's dreadlocks. And the locks, they have a little bit more. Um, they're more singular, they're more flowing, they're more like if your hair was to just grow, it's like the sheep. I don't know how you can explain it. It's just the way you take care of them, the way you care for them is a difference. And then the purpose, the spirit behind them, it's a difference. So I sent out the link that you can go to in reference to the essay that the sister did um, um, in reference to the information, the history, and her story about the lot. So if you were able to open it, straight from the link that I posted, if not, you can just put in Google essays by Ekowa, Ekowa, essays, Essays by Ekowa, and then you open it up, and then she has the history of the locks. So um, yeah, but it's has a lot to do with your state of mind of why you wear it. Because see, like now, it's more of a fad. It's more of a convenience. They don't connect with the spirituality and the purpose of the locks. So that's could you imagine once you read this essay and everybody that comes across who has locks, especially if you're approaching the young men and the young women who wear them, and you ask them, do you know the history of locks? They don't know. But then when you just give them some information about it, they'll be like, well, wow, didn't know that. And they want to know more about it. And then some people may change their way of thinking about their locks, but most of them, depending on their lifestyle at the time, it's more about convenience to them than it is actually to know the truth and then to recognize that living outside of that truth, what it actually originated, what the purpose thereof. So, um, I Lion's mane is his glory. Uh huh. Let's see. I opened it. Oh, Lady Lotus says she opened it. King, um, King Lion says, oh, he's talking to Barama. There are two kinds of dreads in Jamaica, Bobo dreads or natty dreads. Yeah, and the natty dreads, I think that comes closer to the ones that they're talking about. Dreadlocks when they're like matted. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I heard the terminology is of natty as well, and like the Nyabingas, um, they've always said dreadlocks when I'm around a Nyabingi. So and then I've heard natty dreads. I haven't heard of the Bobo dreads. But even using the word dread would not be part of my vocabulary. It's locks to me. Um, but nevertheless, um, at King Lion, okay, another conversation. I thought about locking my hair, but decided not to. Alice Little, I have been sticking to natural styles through heat free. Well, bless it. That's agreed. Alice Little, let's see. Joel's B, no mama. No mama what? Clarify. Joel's B, no mama. What no mama mean? Barama Baba, I love to till the ground. I feel at one with nature. When I do that, I feel nature speaking to me. Yes, Joel's B. The Bobo or Natty dreads are the matted ones. Yeah. Okay. I knew the natty ones. I just never heard of the Bobo. Um. I don't know if the essay actually covers the Bobo, but that's the first time I ever heard of the Bobo terminology. So I would actually have to find somebody who addresses that as Bobo and ask them if they can share that history with me. Okay, so what time is it? 9:52, 8 minutes. Because I get to go on a divine spiritual quest in the morning. I've been summoned to go on a vision quest. So I am so looking forward to actually, after maybe 3 days of the spirit telling me to go on a vision quest, because this is something that she's implementing in this walk, and there's some information that I need to be in nature to receive and not sitting up here in front of a computer or being in the house. I have to be in touch with the four elements. So I'm looking for, I finally, because on my indigenous side, I would have to go all the way to Tennessee or I would have to go to Ohio. But the spirit put it to my attention that I don't have to go far. There's a sacred ground right here in Georgia. So I had to make connections. Excuse me. I had to make connections with some people who can tell me and appoint me to some sacred ground right here in Georgia. So after going through, kind of like shifting out this, that, and the other, the last person I reached out to, I told them what it is that I need to do. Now the previous people, they wanted to ask me all kind of questions and this, that, and the other, and ugh. So I let them know, however you think or however you perceive, believe me, you are a list of many. And I'm not going to let one individual try to be any stronghold or stumbling block, because what you say no to, there's a yes waiting on me. Because when the divine spirit tell me to do something, it's going to be done. So the last person I called, I within 3 minutes, I told him what I've been summoned to do, and they told me exactly where it was that I needed to go, right here in Georgia. So it's about 2.5 hours away, and it's open 24/7. It's not like a public place where I have to worry about somebody coming up there the mountain trying to disturb me or anything of that nature. They almost wanted to say they wanted to go with me, to protect me, but I assured them I'll be all right. Because when the spirit tells me to do something, I'm already all right. So I'm looking forward to pulling out of here at 5 in the morning. My alarm gonna go off at 4, and I'm heading to the sacred ground. I will be taking some pictures, I suppose, and video, but I won't be videotaping the sacred ceremony that I have to do. But I will be bringing back whatever the divine imparts in me to bring back for the purpose of this vision quest that she want me on. So this is the reason why I had to call us to come in early. Tonight, because I can't afford to be up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when I have to be on the road at 5. So I'm grateful and thankful for you all who have been here at short notice early, and I'm just looking forward to um, sharing, and just being out there with Mother Nature and the cosmos. I was like, I just so excited. Excuse me, but include me in your joy as well, because I'm including you all in mine. I'm just so excited because the opposition that was out there when I was trying to talk to these people to get me to where I need to go, but just the divine spirit allowing me to maintain my cool and standing firm on my ground. To the last person I called, just I'm so glad. It's only supposed to be like a day, no longer than 48 hours. But I don't care if the spirit tells me to be up there for a whole week. I'm going to be there. But I know she had already put in my spirit like 1 or 2 days. So I'm just going to um, take it from there. And I'm looking forward to it. Oh my. I noticed there's a lot going on. Am I missing? I don't even remember where we left off at. Let me see. Wow, you all been doing a lot of conversating. Let me see if it includes me. Um, okay, we did that part. Uh, I have been speaking to natural styles. Okay, we did that part. Let's until the okay, we did that part. You had to be Jamaican. Oh, King Lion says the European culture bandits having hijacked wearing locks, and yet they are not discriminated against. So it is racial discrimination against Black folks and should be challenged. Yes. Um, Joe's B says you have to be Jamaican. Laugh out loud. Okay. And then Alice Little, she replied to King Lion. Barama Baba says, is there a major difference in the size of the locks? Oh, she's talking to Jules B. Um, Alice Little, okay, I guess this one's for me. It's highlighted. That's wonderful. Mama Lioness Hadassah. Yes, well, I'm assuming you're saying that in reference to my spiritual, excuse me, quest that I'm going on in the morning. Alex Smith says, please rest well and be encouraged. Thank you. I appreciate that, Alex Little. Let's see. Lady Losa says, can't wait to hear about your experience when you return. I'm looking forward to sharing as well. Jules B says, yes, if you heard the story of Samson and Delilah. He had 7 locks in his head, and he would or he could be considered as being a bubble dread. Uh, Barama. Yeah. See, that's another thing. Now, when I was reading that story about Samson having 7 locks, now the way the adversary and his seed portray locks, they act like if it was like their long stringy fur, or what they call hair. Well, actually, theirs is supposed to be fur, and ours is the only one that is hair. But nevertheless, they call, especially if they're from England or Ireland or some other place, they call their hair locks, um, to take away from the fact that if Samson was only had 7 strands of hair, I don't see how that can be of any strength or of any value. So I immediately, when I read his story, I said, well, it must look like Bob Marley type of locks, where they were thick, but they weren't like all matted to the head, but they were thick. As a matter of fact, I think I actually counted 7 locks on Bob Marley's head, or it was a picture that had some real thick locks, and it was about 7 of them, and they came all the way down to the thighs. Yes. But yeah, that was a sure sign. That's one of the revelations that I got early on in reference to distinguishing between what we're seeing on TV or hearing out of the seed of the serpent, uh, how they have the power to define for themselves instead of what's actually the story is representing. Because 7 strands of hair, I can't see any strength in that. So it had to have been 7 locks. And I think he actually took the Nazarite vow. Yeah. So let me see. Please rest well. Okay. I read that. If you heard, yeah. Okay. King Lion. Okay. Considered. Josby, yes. Um, okay, Nima, we will be with you in spirit. Oh, thank you, Naima Nura. Thank you, because I'm taking y'all with me, and the ancestors, everybody gonna be with me. Yeah, absent in the flesh, but you all gonna be present in the spirit. Mhm. Excuse me, as a matter of fact, let me write down all you all's names that is present tonight, so I can make sure I call out you all's names. Okay, so I have Barama, Ramana, Baba, oops, and then I have Joel's B. I had Naima, Nura. I have King Lion. I have Alex Little. Did I miss over somebody's name? I got Bahama, Bamana, Baba. I got Joe's B. I have Naima Nura. I thought there was a red bird in here. Maybe they're tuned out. I don't know. Let me see. Oh, V Hendrix. Thank you, V. Oh, okay, wait a minute. V Hendrix. Uh, Oh, M. Smith. Oh, that's Mama. Oh, I know who that is. Okay. Uh, oh, that's Maurice. I mean, yeah, Maurice. Okay. Wait a minute. Uh, let's see. That's why he sang the dread, natty dreadlock. Okay. Me, Lady Lotus. Was present earlier. Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you, DeWanda Nelson. Yeah, I think she's the one that's at work, so she has to come in periodically. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I guess Red Bird. Uh, yeah, unapologetically. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. So I think I got everybody that's in here right now. Some stepped in and some stepped out, but so I'm going to take Baramana Baba with me. Joe's B in spirit will be with me. Naima Nura will be with me. King Lion, it will be with me. Alex Little will be with me. Alex Little says, scroll up, please. You missed my message. Oh, how far up you want me to go, Alex? What did you say? Oh, let's see. Oh, bring back the cat a treat. Uh, oh, the cat down the road. Okay, I will. And I'm gonna bring all of us a feline treat of a pantherist treat for all the lions and lioness in the cubs in our community, in our nation building. Yeah, it's a treat. Yeah, because whatever the divine part in me, it's definitely something that she's gonna have for me to. Excuse me. Share. Okay, so uh, my scroll thing's not okay. Thanks, Mama, for bringing me with you. Oh, of course, yes. So I was like, the ancestors gonna be there. Our everlasting parents gonna be there. It's like, why wouldn't I not bring the family with me? Mwah. Okay, so let me finish because I'm shutting it down at 10:30. Okay, so okay, King says, more love to you. Oh, that's the Barama Baba. Okay, so mm, as far as vanity is concerned, are we doing it to take a stand out and be better than others? Mm-mm. We're trying to show the commonality with others. Are we doing it as a seduction of some kind, or do we spend too much time looking in the mirror and too much time in the bathroom over vain pursuit? Um, I'm hoping that's not an agenda. Some people don't spend enough time on these matters, and others spend too much time. They are both mistakes of omissions and commissions, and be moderate in this regard. So be clear on what we are trying to present. And are we presenting godliness or, divineness? And in our appearance, our our glamour to the extreme. Be honest with ourselves in this regard with no judgment and make appropriate adjustments where needed. So, yeah, I think like when it comes to wearing cultural accessories, um, I find it very beautiful. I mean, like to me, like the simple earring, necklace, and things that I like make myself. Like close to my um, indigenous and African jewelry. I make myself. That's about as far as I go. Sometimes I wear the necklace. Now, see, the ancestors are the ones who design my jewelry. I just make my hands available for them to use. Because my favorite piece is this one. This is my favorite piece. And our everlasting parent, the ancestors, made this through my own hands. And this is when I go out to represent um, the divine culture, um, I wear this, and people automatically notice it, um, and I get a lot of people, making some powerful remarks. People ask me if I would make them one, but it's like the spirit um, would allow me to make these things, but then at the same and these aren't the earrings. I actually purchased these earrings, but these are the earrings I made to go with um so when I'm in full garb, these are the earrings that they made through my own hands, um that I would wear when I go out to speak. And of course, ouch. Out. It's like I can't find a whole. Oh, oh, there it is. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I have on. It doesn't get any more than that. And then of course I have my um, in my hand. This is what our everlasting parent made through my own hands and designed it. Our ancestors. It has a crown on top and the Corey shell that represents the feminine. You women, well, probably everybody can recognize that. And then the divine markings. You probably seen this in another video that I did, but I never leave home without it. It goes wherever I go. It even goes to inside places where you have to go through security check. And I've had a couple of guards try to tell me I can't. And then the next thing you know, the divine spirit said, "Oh yes, she can," because I will not let anybody take it away from me. I rather do a bow face and leave before I will let somebody take this out of my hand because it was divinely given. So that means it has to divinely stay with me according to the divine purpose. And don't you know they even chose me to do jury duty? I was shocked when they asked me to do jury duty, and now it seems to just come um, like a habit. Now I get called for jury duty quite often. As a matter of fact, I just did jury duty last week on Tuesday. But enough of that. So, um, let's see what else I missed. Anything? Okay, hold on. Keyline says, more love to you. Okay, I seen that one. Scroll up, mama. I got the cat down the road. Let's see, that's nice. Marcia Smith. Oh, I'm assuming you're Nia Nura. Y'all talking about yeah, I'm still trying to come across somebody, a culture that can actually now like see it has um the ankh with she allowed me to put the skate rib the scab beetle on it. Um I don't know exactly the reason why she chose this particular stone here, but everything has its significance. Now, I do know this right here actually reminds me of a warrior shield. And I actually know as far as what do you call migration, my DNA is found even among the Zulu nation, as well as Mozambique, tropical Central Africa, very teeny weeny portion of Nigeria. I think Sierra Leone and Cameroon has have like a small percentage of them. Let me see, Senegal. Um, I don't remember Ghana being there. And then uh, the fourth cataract of the Nile Valley. So it can be a representation of just about any. Because see, when you take a DNA test, they're not telling you your actual lineage. They're basically telling you, according to your DNA, the migration of your DNA. But they're not going to tell you exactly who your lineage, or what some people might say tribe or clan, or something to that nature. But anyway, Tanya Queen Arise. Oh, you did use it. All right, Queen Arise. That's beautiful. Giving thanks to our ancestors who designed it for me. Alice Little says that's beautiful. Um, just giving thanks to the ancestors because it's like amazing uh, what they did with my hands. Even though they used to be very excruciating with the rheumatoid arthritis and carpal tunnel, severe carpal tunnel. For almost 3 years, I suffered like, oh, whew, that was some intense pain. Just the thought of it gives me a headache. But they were designing things, adornments, and things through me anyway, and it's just amazing. Um, let's see. Joel B says, it's lovely. I spend too much time in the mirror trying to find proper attire. I prayed about help with vanity. Uh, mm, it's, I don't know. It's like when I go to the mirror, like the first thing in the morning when I go into the bathroom and I look, I'm talking to the divine. I'm talking to our everlasting parent and giving her thanks for giving me the kiss of life, exchanging her breath throughout my body, and that I can inhale it from her to begin a new day, and then exhale it in a divine order that will glorify her, utilizing her words of counsel. And then after I do that, I just look at myself and I smile, because I'm a reflection. I'm like you all. You are a reflection of a fraction of the divine spirit. So that's other than that, other than, the face cleaning and all that, I don't do much. As a matter of fact, I got so much new growth um, in my um, my locks, so that lets you know. I mean, I haven't twisted my new growth or my locks um, all year, and we're like in our eighth and ninth. Well, yeah, this is our eighth month. So that's the reason why I can, lay my hair down because it's so much. Now, see, that's kind of stuck. Oops. But, because I'm taking like the new growth and laying it down. So that's what made, I think it was Baramana Baba who thought I had shaved the side of my head. It's no, it's just that I got so much new growth. What it's laying down is the new growth, and I actually like it. I don't like, having to, go to my scalp. I think it just feels better and it looks better on me when I have new growth. I don't like when my scalp actually shows. So there's no reason for me to be in the mirror any longer than that. So um but sometimes I do peek in ears, like, because I like to look. Remember when I showed you all my seal in my forehead? Let me see the circle. Or is it okay? You can see it, and that comes from I was asleep and I was having a divine connection with our everlasting parent, and it literally felt like somebody went like this on my forehead. So I opened my eyes, and the finger, I mean, the pressure was still on here. So I got up and I went into the bathroom and turn on the light, and bam, I had this perfect quarter size circle in the middle of my forehead, right there, and it's extremely noticeable. But see, the way this light is shining on the coming down with me, I got so much stuff in front of me. I have to like pan it around. But anyway, so I noticed when I was talking to people, they would bring to my attention about this circle in the middle of my forehead. Now, the times that they've only been ever heard of having a mark on your forehead was from a religious perspective, which was supposed to be the mark of the beast. So I noticed that this particular couple was starting to show signs of like if they were afraid. And I was looking at them, I'm like, why you all looking at me like that? And they says because the wife, she spoke up and says, because are you aware that you have like a circle in the middle of your forehead? And I just brushed it off of like, well, yeah. But then she went on to say, well, her husband, I think it was her husband, said, well, they said that the mark on the forehead is the mark of the. And I said, no, that's not the only thing in the Bible when it comes to a mark. There is when your divine puts something up on you, it's called a seal. But when the adversary puts something on you, it's called a mark. Just like they try to say the complexion of our skin is the mark of sin or a mark of a curse. So they take anything that is positive and tear it into something negative. And then, of course, anything that is light, they call darkness. Anything good, they call bad or, or evil or whatever the case may be. And then when I showed it to them in their own scripture book, and then it was broken down in my notes that the Spirit gave me probably like 10 years ago. Um, let's see if I can pull it up. The seal of the forehead. It's just a manifestation of basically knowing when you all receive the truth and the uh, there's a seal. You might, some people might be obvious, but the divine not look on the outward appearance, but look with inside and upon the heart. But for whatever reason, why she chose to push my to touch my forehead, and then I wake up and see this circle in the middle of my forehead, and then the things that she was allowing me to 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 perceive, the insights of things that she allowed my eyes to see and perceive, and my ears to hear and understand. This whatever reason that she, oh, and remember, oh, there's one thing that's supposed to that I supposed to walk with, of what I do walk with when I'm delivering a message, when I'm, you all seen this one, if you see the other video, this is my sacred scroll. Yes, this is my sacred scroll. So whenever the divine spirit will send me out in a message, this is an ancient scroll, and I still haven't found somebody who can tell me um, what that writing is. I know it's Asian. It looks Asian. Look like, well, actually, I took it to one person said it's an ancient language that their people don't um, utilize anymore. But somebody's going to have to be able um, to let me know what this is on here. But I know once I find out, it's going to be something positive and sacred, because the divine wouldn't allow me to have it if it was representing anything that was not good. So that's my complete um, adornment when I'm out, speaking and doing what spirit tells me. Okay, so three, okay, King Lion. Okay, my God. The overseer, a truly beautiful creation. Little, I am. Why does this keep jumping up? It won't. It doesn't want to stay. I'm trying to catch up with you all. In my opinion, for eternal reflection and awareness. Why not? It is intense yet necessary. Deep soul gaze in the mirror. Never heard of that. Sounds scary. Looking at my reflection. Joel's B, who somebody told you to do a deep soul gaze in the mirror. I actually wanted to do that before. But then all of a sudden, believe it or not, I was like, I think that would be vain for me to stand here and look at myself for long periods of time. But sometimes I actually do go up to the mirror and just literally, put my face up to the mirror and like try to look dead into my eyes and see who it is that I see. Because it's like, if the Ancient of Days blood is flowing through our vein, then that means we've been here before. We're reincarnated. We are the sequel of what was here before. So I be looking, sometimes I get like really, really close, and I'm like, so who am I? So, and I'll just ask, and I'll stand there for about a minute, and then and I'll just walk away. But yeah, excuse me. Okay, so egotism is the last one. Let me see. Something beautiful. Josie, I agree with King Lane. I don't really worry. I'm just putting more effort in modesty, which in turn is making me spend more time in the mirror. I always dress modestly, but I want to be even more. Okay, Josie at Lady Lotus. It is very deep. I used to go to a soul coaching group, and it was one of the techniques utilized with other people Stare into one another's eyes. Dead silence for 5 minutes. It's emotional. Mm. Alex, little is the crying you are speaking of. At little, well, I guess she can only answer that. Okay. Sounds intense at. Mm, okay. So, egotism is the final major test of the spiritual path. That is egotism. Excuse me. Egotism goes beyond even pride to really encompass all negative ego qualities and emotions. So there's really is only one problem in life for all aspirants and non-aspirants um, and souls and that is of a stronghold of egotism. So there is only one answer to all the problems of humanity, and that is basically um, divine consciousness. Now, whether it comes through the lessons of morale, through the different avenues of truth, the pieces of the puzzles to put together the one mountain of philosophy up under wisdom. Um, that's where it truly have to bring the remnant together so we can get that clear, complete clarity of the purpose. Um, the fullness of the vision and the purpose. And I guess that's the reason why I'm getting ready to go on um, my vision quest. My vision quest in the morning. Maybe that is another part of the puzzle that she wants to give me. Oh, so King Lion, Mama Lions, can you teach us how to connect with our ancestors? Yeah, no. Yeah, so actually, this is the end of the lesson for um, this series that we just went through for the test of the aspirants. And so, starting when I come back from my quest, um, well, I can't guarantee you what I'm going to be talking about because I don't know what the Divine Mother is going to be imparting in me while I'm up there. But I do know it's in reference to her. From this time forward, it's going to be about making that divine connection with her. And so we can be in line with the same mind and the same purpose and the same spirit so we can accomplish what it is that she's awakened us to and awakened us for. So, yes, King Lion, when I come back, that's exactly what it is that we're recovering more. Um, I'm sharing more information about the Divine Mother. Now, my experience, because she's going to communicate, with us all differently, but just laying down the basic foundation of the start to at least for you all to recognize her voice when she speaks and the information that she's sharing. I will lay down that basic platform, but the difference between faith and faithfulness, there's one that stands still and wait to just see if something happens, versus the faithful one that's being actively involved, so they can benefit from the action that is constantly changing. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Night night. Oh, Naomi says night night. It where you gaze. Wait a minute. It where you gaze in your reflection. Oh, at Alex. That's for Alex. King Lion says you're most welcome. Okay, Lady Locust. Okay. So, uh, Okay. So I'm going to finish up with the egotism, and then we're going to bring it to a close. Oh, actually, um, egotism. That's your homework. Just let the divine spirit lead you and guide you on having something to bring forth of what the spirit has revealed to you in reference to egotism. Because I was supposed to shut this down at actually 10. Yeah, it's 10:30. It's 10:35. Um, but nevertheless, our ego is the source of all the spiritual tests that has been mentioned previously, and the source of all lower self, starting with our lower chakra desires. It is the source of all separation, fear, and selfishness. It is the source of all dis-ease, and it is the premier lesson of every soul that is willing to learn and earn a proper knowledge to maintain that soul that in its purity form, because the flesh is supposed to be the absorb is supposed to absorb any fiery darts that come from us, that come to us through whether physical or spiritual. The soul is that inner being that the Divine Mother has sent, but she had to put a covering over us, which is our flesh and bones and blood. The skin, so we can relate to emotion, touch, and feelings. Our five senses, as far as being able to see and hear and smell and speak, or touch, or taste, or touch, or stand, or move, walk, or whatever the case may be. But the inner child, the reason why we have to get in touch with the inner child is being in touch with our true soul self, that spiritual being that is not supposed to be reachable through the devices of the adversary. So it is beautiful. It's like that's like really deep. I can go deep into that, but I'm just grateful, and I thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for you all who has been loyal to coming to all these notifications, and thank you for who wasn't able to be here, but we're actually able to view the videos at your own convenience, because everybody's time is not the same on how you utilize your time, whether you be at work or at school or interacting with your children. So I'm grateful and thankful um, that you all were able to be here and partake. Truly believing that it did not fall upon deaf ears, something that you can consider, something that you can be aware of, and that when the opportune time comes, for when you recognize these different attributes of what is among us, and that has been used to create these strongholds, um, and then that's going to even get even more of a test now that you actually make that commitment, and only you know the time when you've made that choice, whether if it's present or in the near future, but at least you're open to receiving guidance by knowledge, so you can get understanding, so you can understand with your soul, inner being, your inner child spirit, and that you make that divine connection. With our everlasting eternal parents. Um, the Divine Mother, more so, simply because throughout history, from a patriarchal, dominant sodomite system, that's their main job, is to suppress and to make none and void the feminine nature. of not only of the cosmos but of the earth. You see how they treat the earth, the mother earth, like they treat women. Raping their bodies or raping their minds is all the same to them. So what they even acknowledge as mother earth, they have no problem of doing the same thing. I'm just, oh my goodness. I just had a terrible. I mean, it's just. See, and I noticed, since I've been in this chat room, doing um the messages, as I don't really get into the tone and the tune of the lioness, because the divine spirits, that this is family, and I have to utilize the lady that's within me, and just speak at a tone of nurturing. But when it's time for the lioness to step up and confront the enemies and the system, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm, I'm just, uh, yeah. So, nevertheless, thank you all for being here, and I look forward to sharing when I get back. And like I said, I will be utilizing um, my camera when necessary. Once I get to the place, or maybe even on the road. I notice I can't do YouTube live on my cell phone. Uh, Hmm. I wonder if my tablet can do it, but one way or the other. But when I get there, and we go on the walks together, but not at the sacred mound. I won't be filming that, but I will keep in touch with you all and let you know um, my status. And I think I have everybody's in my text. Oh, thank you for being such a sharing spirit, Mama Lion. Had a safe journey to you. Thank you, Baramana Baba. Thank you so much. And don't forget, you're going to be right there with me in spirit. And okay, let's see. Ian Smith Marcia says, yes, I can feel what people are going through. Oh, she's talking to Joe's B. You're welcome, Mommy Lioness. Okay, thank you, Tanya, Queen. Arise. Sometimes you do. Oh, okay. So, if you all need a few more minutes, I guess King Lion is already off. You're most welcome, lady. Yeah, maybe King Lion is already off the chat room. 'Cause I haven't heard seen anything out of here. But if you all need a few more minutes to um, part from one another, uh, excuse me. Um, yeah, the sleepiness is coming on me. It never fails. I hear it is 3 hours, and I would shoot for just two. But at least look what time it is. It's not even 11 o'clock. Well, I wanted to be asleep at 10 actually, but usually I started at 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. Oh, I was supposed to have been finished at 9:30. Oh well, see, it's not about the plans that we make for ourselves. It's about the plans that our divine spirit is in control with. So I'm not complaining. I'm grateful to have this time with you all together. Okay. Good night, everyone. I'm sleepy. And some say sleep and pleasant dreams. Love you. Thank you, Marcia. Love you all for a divine purpose of divine destiny and purified legacy. I'd like to know how I can connect directly to my new family. Um, you all wanna Lady Lotus. Okay, so can you all put like at Lady Lotus by your name so I can forward um contact if you want to make connection with Lady Lotus. I can send her a text of you all's contact to her because I don't want to put it on the chat room just in case there's a what do you call those people troll that might be watching it later. I don't want to blast anybody's personal information. So just let me know if you want me to, or you all can text me. I think everybody has a direct line to me and just say, yeah, send my information to Lady Lotus. Okay? We need each other's email. Okay, so we can make that happen. You just need to get in touch with me and then I'll get the information um to whomever you say you want to make contact with. Oh, okay. I will text you, Mama Lions. Okay. So I probably won't be able to get to it until I get to my destination. Um, yeah, but I will. I will respond. I will respond. Thank you, Joe's B. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tanya, Queen of Rise. Ooh, I got this necklace on. Oh, no rush, Mama. Okay. Oh. Yeah, that's got some weight to it, because it's bone, it's ivory, and yeah, it just got some weight to it, and it just like really, uh, yeah. But when I'm actually wearing it, when I'm supposed to be wearing it, it doesn't bother me. But when I have it on uh, inappropriately, it just seemed like it'd be like too much. Okay, so I'm closing out. May you all stay smothered and covered in our divine, everlasting, eternal parents' love, as she defined it as divine protection, divine provision, divine counsel, and divine comfort. And don't forget that she goes before us to lead us. She's beside us to guide us. She's over us to cover us. She's even beneath us to carry us. She's behind us to protect us. But most importantly, she's within us to empower us that we may do all things that she's called, chosen, and now sent us to do. Okay. Okay. Oh, so Joe's B, you sent out an email, so you want me to reveal that in the chat room? Remove the chat portion of this video. How you do that? Oh my goodness. You see. It just says participants. How do you well, I'm just gonna have to shut it down because I don't know how you remove the chat box. Okay. Forgive me, I don't know about that. Remove chat portion of this video, mama. I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to turn the thing off without ending the whole stream. So that's what I'm going to do. But me as the administrator, you just said you sent a email, but it's telling me to either show it or hide it. So I'm gonna hide it because if you're telling me to remove the chat box and I don't know how, then that means you don't want this to be seen by public. So I'm going to. Yeah. Okay. I guess hopefully I did that right. It's just something else you all can teach me. Because this is all uh new to me, so I haven't mastered it all. Okay, so good night. It takes a minute for it to catch up. Oh my goodness, I'm so sleepy. Oh, that's what's making me sleepy.